Hello, everyone, and welcome back to CJ Custom Fishing Lures. I'm Corey, and I'm going to be painting another lure here tonight. Tonight, we're going to be using our 110 jerkbait. It does have a, it does start with floating. It can drop down and suspend. It does go down to a depth of about somewhere between 2 to 6 feet, depending on your line diameter, obviously taken there. And it has the ability to stay right there and suspend while you're twitching it and bringing it in. So a couple videos ago, I did the baby 110, and now we're going to go for the regular 110 jerkbait. I did get this jerkbait. I believe it was Backwater Outfitting. I might have got it from someplace else. But we're going to go with this, and we're going to go with, I believe I'm going to call it we're going to go with the Sexy Crackle. Today I did a crackle pattern on our toxic crackle on our last video, which I hope you had a chance to check out. Please check out my other videos. Please like them if you do, and subscribe to the channel if you want to learn some more, and hit that notification bell so you can find out when I put new videos out. I am trying to put out one video a week, just on showing people the joy of painting and what they can do with their fishing lures, and how it all can get started for you. And as I've told people in the past, I simply started because I couldn't find the color I wanted, and also my daughter was losing a lot of expensive bait. So I learned to paint knockoff lures to those, and they work quite well for us, and it saved me a little bit of money. Now it's costing me money to get all the different types of paints, but in the long run, I'm finding something I really enjoy and have a lot of confidence to go fishing with. So we're going to get painting with this, and I'm going to start by using Createx Opaque White. I'm going to be using this as a base coat as I paint. So just shake it really quick. I'm going to put it in my airbrush here. For my airbrush, I use a Neo Owada airbrush. I've been using this. It's a relatively inexpensive brush, and it does quite well for me. So I have it all ready to go, and so I'm not going to go necessarily any specific direction. I'm just going to get the bait covered. So I do have my pressure up a little high, but I'm not putting too much pressure down on the airbrush and not letting it fly out, so it's not going to all dump in one little spot on the bait. It'll keep it moving and keep it spreading. So I like painting these jerk baits. Gives it a different variety, a different lure to use. And I've been doing some reading and some literature up here in Pennsylvania, and getting up into the early winter, and I know things get a little more lethargic, so a nice little jerk bait will work for this. And this is just a style that I like to paint on it. Now, I put one coat on. I'm going to put another, but I'm going to heat set it really quick with my Work Pro heat gun. I show you the different things. It's not because I'm sponsored by them. Like Owada does not sponsor me for the airbrush, or Createx for the paint, or Work Pro for my heat gun here. I just show you so you know what I'm using, and you might have something similar that you use. So just giving you an idea of some of the different things out there as well. And my heat gun actually doubles. I use it here, but I also use it when I paint jigs, because it does have a little base in the back here that you can set down, and the air can still flow underneath it, and so it doesn't overheat it, which I've done before to heat guns. So I'm just going to hit it again really quick. I got one quick coat on. I just want to get a really good base, get a good canvas coat on there. Now, all done there, so I'm going to clean out my airbrush. All I do to clean out my airbrush is squirt a little water in the cup. And what I'll do, as I like to show in videos, is I'll backflow it. I cover up the tip. Since I have the dual air where you push down then pull back for the paint, push down for air, pull back for paint, I'm just going to push down and pop it. So get it to bubble. So anything that might be stuck in there or loose paint in there is ready to dump out, and then I can just spray the rest of the water out. Take a rag, wipe it out, ready to go. Since I did put another coat on there, I'm going to hit it really quick with the heat gun. I'm not going to go totally dry on this one because I am going to come back with another shade, or another hue, as you might want to say it, of white. So this is just basic opaque white so I can get it covered. Some people use a lot of different ones. It's pretty much what you like to do. You can experiment with different ones as well. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little pearl white on it. I like using the pearl white. It gives it a little shine, gives it a little shimmer in the water, gives it a different look. I use a lot of pearl paints, and you're going to see as we paint this, a lot of the paint I'm going to put on here is pearl. I just like them, and I don't know what it was. I just felt like, and again, I'm just covering this really quick. I don't know what it was. I just felt like the more I painted with pearl, like it just seemed the better I was doing fishing. And I don't necessarily think it's anything particular that I do. I like the colors I do, and maybe I just have a little confidence in them. However, I did see a couple videos recently, clean out my airbrush as I'm done with the pearl, that talked about young bluegill, even young sunfish, and somebody that used to catch them really, really tiny ones. And they necessarily didn't have the distinct patterns of bluegill or sunfish, but their colors looked very pearl-like. So I wonder if, because I use the pearls, it gives them trigger something in the fish's brain or in their reaction survival skills, that must be a young fish and they attack it. That's a theory. Is it right? I don't know. I never tested it. I like painting with the pearls, and I think they do a very, very good job. So have that heat set it. I think it looks pretty good. I do have the pearl white on here. I am going to show you. I just want to give another quick heat set because we're going to do some other stuff with it. But show you really quick. As you can see, it has a kind of a nice shine to it, nice little shimmer to it. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is I have my work sponge. It's almost like one of these car sponges for washing the car. I'm going to take this out of my helping hands and give it a second here to dry. These helping hands I get these at Harbor Freight. I think they're about $10, $12. They usually come with like a magnifying glass on it so you can really work on the stuff. I pull the magnifying glass out and I just use these to hold my lures. And they work quite well. Well, now I'm going to use the stencil that I put in a knitting loom. And really, it's this nice pattern here. But all this is a bathroom loofah. All right, so I just kind of tore it and broke it apart. I got the rest of it laying around here someplace that I can use it for later on, especially when this one breaks or tears, and it will do that at times. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take pearl silver. All right, I'm going to take pearl silver and do for the next pattern. Now this is just to give it a little contrast, give it a little depth with what we're painting. I don't want it to be just solid white and then go to another color. I wanted to have a few little looks to it. So all I'm going to do is lay the loom right on top of the lure. I'm going to hold it down as best I can. And one thing I might do is hook one of the things around the back eye hook. And then I'm just going to take the pearl and just go right over it. And you could go as heavy as you want, or you can go as light as you want. It makes no difference. It's your lure. Do it the way you want. All right. Give it a second. Then I'm going to slowly lift up because you don't want to keep the stick and pull. And then I'm just going to, from a little distance, give it a heat set. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. You're going to be like, I don't really see much. And you're right. You're not going to see much. It's just to give it a little contrast, a little depth there. I'm going to put it right there. You see a little bit of a pattern there. So you see the silver, you see the white, and it gives a nice little look there, especially because we're going to build other colors on top of it. All right, so just going to heat set it just a little bit more. All right, because I got to turn it over and do the other side. So I'm going to flip it over. Still going to make sure I need a little more silver in there. And I get all of my paints, most of my paints, I shouldn't say all. Most of my paints come from Createx. I've just had some good success with them. And not that I'm getting paid by Createx. It's just I started by painting with Createx. and I like them. So I use them. Now I use some other stuff, which I'll pull out a little later for like paint shifters. And I have some other paints as well, but I'm kind of fond of the Createx, and so I just keep using it. I know a lot of people use Golden, and there's some other stuff out there. They're not bad paints. They do good, but I'm just kind of fond of this one. So I'm on the other side, just spraying the silver, making it as thick as I need it to be, and then I did wrap it under both ends, so I just gotta be really careful pulling it off. I don't like the heat set on the loofah because I've done that before and it has melted the loofah. So even though I try to build up a nice heavy coat of paint on there, it doesn't always work, and so it still rips. It's okay. That's why we have extra. That's why you don't throw it out. So if you're painting at home and you want a quick stencil to use, so whoever cleans out your shower or the bathroom, don't let them throw the loofahs out because they're really good to use. So there's the other side of it, right there. So it's a nice little pattern that can be on there, and it's going to be on our base. And so a lot of times, especially with the Sexy Shad pattern that you would see that Strike King put out and some of these other ones, they have the solid silver kind of gray underneath. I kind of like to break the pattern up, so that's what I do. The next part I'm going to do, it's going to be a little different. Usually not a color you see with the Sexy Shad, and I'll show you what I do with it afterwards, is I'm going to go with some fluorescent raspberry. With this fluorescent raspberry, I better clean out my gun. Or, as I said last video, I'm going to get a surprise I was not ready for. So, clean that out really quick. But what I do with the fluorescent raspberry is I put it just on top, right along the lateral line of this bait, on this lateral line that's like right in here. I'm going to put the yellow, but on this top part, I'm going to put a coat of this fluorescent raspberry. It's a different contrast, something I started doing and I liked it. So I keep doing it. It seems to work, and I've had some people that buy my lures say, "Hey, I kind of like that look," and so they bought it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the top very slowly. This you can do directionality where you just go in one direction, but I'm just going to go slowly back and forth. And since it's the fluorescent raspberry, my red colors in Createx seem to spray it really easy. And then I'm just going to go nice and light, up and down. Going to build up the layers nice. And I'm going to come over on the shoulders of this bait just a little bit, knowing that the yellow is going to go in there as well. Now, some people say this might appeal to walleye fishermen. People will like to tackle those critters in the water because it has a nice pink on here, maybe some lake trout. By all means, try it. See what happens. I mainly fish for bass just because my wife and I have our family cottage that we've recently taken total possession of, and been fishing there my whole life, and I just mainly go for bass. Okay, that's kind of a bright fluorescent raspberry color on there. All right, that's where we got there. And you might say, not sure where this is going, not sure what you're doing here, Corey, but we're gonna stick around to see what happens. I'm kind of intrigued. So I hope that's the case. I hope that's what's going through your mind, that you're just intrigued about how we're gonna do this. Now the next step I'm gonna do is I'm going to use some pearl blue. This is the blue that I put with the Sexy Shad. I'm going to go with the pearl blue to do this. Now, I'm not going to just spray right over the raspberry or the fluorescent, or you want to call it pink, whatever you want to call it. I wouldn't call it totally pink, but it's kind of pinkish purple. I'm not just going to spray the blue over top of it. We're going to add a pattern to it. We're going to add some more contrast to it. So we're going to have multiple going on between the where we had the loop on there, and now we're going to have another stencil as well. We're not going to need a lot of paint, I don't think. And this one is a stencil. You can see it's been used for different colors. It's just a floral ribbon is really what it is. I have about a roll. It's about 30 feet long, and I still got a lot more to use. So I'm not going to necessarily clip this on like I usually do, but I am going to just lay it over top and hold it down. All right, just hold it down on it like this. Because the goal is to hit mainly just the top part of the bait. All right, so I'm mostly going to shoot for just on the top and coming over and let some overspray do the sides. So I'm just going to go right down the middle. Bring some overspray on the side. Because we want to see some of that fluorescent raspberry. Now, I'm going to do the other side as well. Keeping toward the head. See if it's the way I want it. A little more down the side. Probably been easier to clip it, but that's okay. All right. Now I'm going to slowly pop this off. And we're going to get that effect on top. That little crackle look on top. All right. I like how that's looking. All right, I am going to do a little more on the face. In the front of the head here. I'm going to darken up the eye, even though I'm going to come back in with another color later, probably black. I am going to put it here so it can have the black and the blue contrast. And that might help because we know that people love the hematoma color in their soft plastics, the black and the blue. So we'll see how that goes. I don't want to go crazy with it, but we're going to leave it right there. So we might come back and put some more blue on. But for now, we're going to stop right there. And I think we are going to do it. But I want to put our yellow in first before I come back and do that. I think I might come back and cover the whole top blue and then just leave the sides peeking out with the blue and the raspberry. But we'll see what it looks like. We can always make that a game time decision as we're going through. Now, my next color that we're going to do is one of my favorites, Pearl Pineapple. If you didn't necessarily want to do a pearl, I do have like an iridescent yellow by Createx. That's a good choice as well. You could always go bright yellow with it as well too. I do not recommend doing fluorescent yellow because I think it would be almost too light. And I'm afraid that as you build those layers up, it could cause problems and get a little thicker than you wanted it to necessarily get. So, don't need a lot. We're just putting 2 stripes now. I'm going to have it pressured down because I want to be able to control the line. I'm going to try to stick right along that lateral line going down the bait on each side. So, let's see how we do. I already know my hands are not going to be steady. Okay. And I did go over a little bit, which gives you an interesting color when the yellow and the blue mix. Yellow and blue make green. Wasn't that the commercial for Ziploc bags years ago? And oh, I'm not happy with that spraying like that. And sometimes it will splatter. That's okay. Bob Ross called those happy accidents, right? There's a reason. So I had the line coming like this. And the line coming like that. And you can see where it came and got a little green there too. So I think I am going to come back on the top. And I think I'm going to put a little darker layer of blue on top. Because I am going to... got a little special treat for the top too. So, we're all about giving some contrast, we're giving some color, giving a little depth here, a lure here. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the top of this bait in the pearl blue. Going back to the pearl blue. Nice and easy. I'm just going to try to go right down the middle. And so I just have a solid, per se, spine. Of the bait. So we have the sides here, the yellow going into the raspberry to a very solid top on of the bait in blue. So it gives us a lot of color, a lot of contrast, some different looks. Now, if you enjoyed the top the way it was, by all means, you could have left it. You don't have to color it in. There's no rule in lure painting that says thou hast to leave all crackle pattern, cover all crackle pattern. No, you can leave it if you want to. You don't have to cover it up. Remember, it's your lure. I want to go a little darker on the top as well there. So I'm kind of liking that. Kind of liking that look. I'm getting a lot of different contrast between the white and the silver on the bottom. I like the blue and the fluorescent raspberry toward the top. And that yellow lateral line coming through works, and it hits some places where it has a yellow and blue made green kind of look to it. Now, we're getting close to being done. I'm going to take some pearl black, and this is going to be kind of a interesting little thing I do on this. So I'm going to take pearl black, and we're going to put a pattern across the top because I just don't want it solid blue. I like the other pattern that was there, so I liked having a pattern up there. I shouldn't say the other one. I want to have a pattern up there. So what I'm going to do, I believe it's from Insane Custom Stencils. I have what they call a creature stencil. All right, just some lines there. And we're going to put it on the top here and try to stick right to the middle so not to overspray it in some other spots. So we just lay it on there. We're going to have to hold it. I have to do this in sections. Check my pressure, make sure it's where I need it. All right, and then I'm not going for a lot. I'm just going to go for a little on it. I like the way it's looking. And so, let's see here. Yeah, I just put a little right there. And then you can see on top, it has a little of the black pattern going across the top to give it that look, give it that little different look on there. So, and then I'm going to come back in, I'm going to hit the eyes. Getting them nice and dark. All right. Liking the way that looks. Like the way that looks. Now, one thing you could do is if you don't want necessarily the right here, the cheek or whatever you want to call it, the gill plate here, to be plain, you could hit it with some small dots to give it some definition if you so choose to do that. That would give it a different look too as well. We're very, very close. We're going to take care of what I like to put the gills on and give it the little underneath color that I like to put on there to give it something target for those fish that are underneath to come up and greet it and say hello to this bait. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some transparent orange, another one of my staple colors that I use. I'm not going to use a ton of it, but I'm going to put it on the back of the tail of the bait, the tail end of the bait, mainly because we know that perch have yellow toward the back, orange toward the back, and so it makes it gives it that kind of indication as we're trying to fool these fish. So I'm just going to come down, paint a little orange stripe right there. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit. All right, just to give it, as I like to call it, the target in the back of the fish. In case it's coming through and missing it, they say, hey, what was that? And then they might look up and see it. Now, the last thing I'm going to do before my color shift is I got to do my gill plate. That means I got to pull my red out. So let me clean out my orange out of my gun. And we're going to put red on the gill plate. Now, some people are very steady with their hands and have some really good control and can freehand these gill plates. At one time, I got into a habit of using a Sharpie, like a red Sharpie that didn't bleed, and that's what I used there, and it worked quite well. It's just I started liking the way I did it before a little more, so I went back to do that, and I can't seem to find my stencil, which helps me out extremely a lot with this. So bear with me just a second. I'll just keep talking to you as we do this. So again, I'm going to be using transparent bright red to do the gill plate. You don't really need a lot. You're just putting like 2 quick lines. You're going to have low pressure because, and I did find my stencil. Sorry for bumping the camera. All right. All this is just a folder that I cut up and I use over here for my gill plate, and this is kind of the belly sometimes to my craws. This is a design I put with what I call my yellow perch. So I use this for a variety of different things. All I'm going to do is lay this right up next to the gill plate. We're not doing anything special with it. I'm shooting to paint the red on the paper. I didn't really like the way that came out for some reason. So I'm just going to heat set that really quick. After I heat set, if it looks all right, I'll just leave it. If not, I'll touch it up a little bit. Remember, don't put the heat too long in a certain area because you don't want it to crack the paint. All right, there we go. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind, I wipe this clean because I'm going to flip it over and I don't want that in the paint on there. I'm trying to paint right along the edge of the paper. I'm not shooting for the bait. I'm going for the edge of the paper and letting the overspray come in to take it. So get on here, see if you can see this one a little better. I line up my stencil, or my curve as I call it. And all I want to do is hit the edge of the paper and let it do the job. And when I take it off, I'm end up with a stencil, a little gill like that, and I flip it over. We get a gill just like that. So I get rid of my car sponge, take my stencil out, and you can make that stencil any way you want. That's just how I did it. All right, and I put it right back in the helping hands. clear out the red because we're just about to add our last color, and it's a color shift color that we're going to put on there. Now I have a couple different ones that I choose from that I like to use. I really enjoy using color shift from Turbo Dork. Is one I really like to use. And when I'm using the blue, like this one, I try to use either the colors of Cold Opening is the name of it, or I use, I think it's called Let Them Eat Cake. However, I think tonight I kind of got on a kick of using this one. I bought this one time from Lure Build Shifter. It's called Chameleon Flake. And I think this is the one I'm going to go with tonight. Even though I really enjoy using Turbo Dork, please check them out. They do a fantastic job with it. So, got it all shaky. I was using this one earlier today on a different bait. There, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot from the back and just go up. All right, give a little in the front, return it, a little on the side, down each one, just on the side, just a little bit. You know, even if you give the colors that are on there a little shift, gives everything a little bit of a look. Ooh, that looks really nice. So there it is on the sides. There it is on the top. Hopefully you can see the shine, the shifting of the colors, the sparkle there. I do like that chameleon shade. I'm just going to give it a little more. And it works nice with blue. I've actually found it works nice with purple too. So don't be afraid to try it with that color as well. Now I'm going to give a quick heat set to everything here. And then I'm going to review the paints I got with you. And then we'll get ready to wrap this up because I got to put some eyes on it. And then I got to get it ready for the clear coat process. So here's our bait right here tonight. And just going through the colors really quick, we started by putting a base coat of opaque white on there. Then we added pearl white. And then we using our loofah stencil in our ring, we used some pearl silver and made that nice little pattern underneath. Then we came and we painted the top and down the sides with fluorescent raspberry. Then using our other stencil that we have here, we used our pearl blue for the top. After we pulled the stencil off, had the blue on top, we went down the lateral line with our pearl pineapple to give it that orange streak. We went back on the top with the blue again, and then we did our creature stencil, and our pearl black across the top to give it a creature on top. Then we did our transparent orange underneath. We did our gill with bright red, and then we finished it up with a little chameleon flake from Lure Build. And then we have this lure right here. Now I think it's just about dry. Now it's not totally dry. I mean, I gotta let it set. But I'm looking at the eye sockets because I wanted to put some eyes on here, so you can kind of get a look before we send it to the clear coat process. So for this bait right here, I usually use 5mm eyes, and I'm just going to use regular clear eyes that I have. Now I do have my gloves on because you should not touch the bait with bare hands once you started painting, because the oils then get on the lure, making it hard to for the clear coat to stick with it. But we're going to be very careful today. I'm going to take my super glue, which decided to play hide and seek right now. I just use some of this super glue lock. It's a gel, because then it won't run all over the place. And leaving the glove on the other hand, I'm going to put a dab of this gel in the eye. Not a lot. We don't want to overwhelm it so it oozes out. And then I'm just going to pop the eye in there. Ooh, that looks really, really nice. Now I'm going to do the other side just as much. Just a little dab will do you. And there we go, right on in there. Now, I do have to let this bait sit for a while, and I have to let it sit and dry before I put the gloss coat on. And for the gloss coat, I simply use UVLS clear gloss. I mix it with the 4011 reducer. I mix that up, and then I spray it a good generous amount onto the lure here before I put it in to be cleared in the Illuma UV clear coat that I use, and I use Illuma UV. Then I put it into my clearing box. So I hope you were able to take some good tips away from here. You got the lure just right here. It's got a lot of colors, a lot of different patterns going on, a lot of looks for that. So if you like the lure, you like what we're doing here, please like and subscribe. Please share it with people as well. As I said in the beginning, I believe that we're trying to put one video out a week so we can help to learn, and we're trying to grow the channel just mostly for the love of painting lures and the learning the art of fishing and stuff like that. So as I head out here tonight, I just want to say you can check all of our stuff out at our website at cjcustomfishinglures.com. And as I said in the beginning, this is Corey from CJ Custom Fishing Lures, where we make serious baits for serious fish. Looking forward to see you on the next video or when we see you on the water. Best of luck.